Hey everybody, what is going on? I'm Hunter here with Briggs and Ryan here on this Monday. For all intents and purposes, we are back to kind of some normal schedule when it comes to Northern Life. Welcome at 12:30 if you're rejoining us here at 12:30. 6:30, we've been on the whole time, so hopefully you've been watching us at 6:30.
So intents and purposes.
Is that what it is? Intents
I
and
don't
purposes?
know. I was wondering, after you said it out loud, I was curious, how do you spell that?
Like all intents, like
what's your intent?
T-E-N-T.
I-N-T-N-T, I believe. All intents and purposes, I believe.
In my mind, it was like all intense.
Oh, it's all
and
intense.
that's how I thought of it.
We're camping.
But I think you're definitely right with your
Sure.
spelling there. But it just brought up a funny picture in my mind.
That is
Everybody
pretty funny.
intends this.
Sometimes-
We're all intense and purposeful.
Sometimes I'll say big phrases. I don't know if I said them right or anything. I used to think like par for the course was par for the chorus. And that was like a choir thing. So up until about like a ridiculously short amount of time ago, like 2 years ago, I thought it was, par for the chorus.
Growing up, I always thought like something was scalding hot. I always said scolding hot. And so my dad's like, you're yelling at this thing that's hot? I'm like, oh, it's scalding. Yeah.
I've always wondered about beeline versus V-line.
What's a V-line?
I don't know. Do you make a beeline for something or a V-line
Oh,
for something?
I think it's beeline, but I don't know where that comes from.
Right.
Where does it come from?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Probably geometry or something.
Yeah.
Something about
like
Pythagoras.
Weird.
Yeah, we're learning today. Hey, coming up on today's show, we also have a plethora of state fair things to talk about, including an impressive sculpture in Indiana, hilarious events down in Iowa, and unbelievable items you can eat down in Texas.
No, whatever. They've got nothing on us here in
Yeah.
Minnesota. Come on.
Ooh.
And we're starting the week off on the good side with a cute story about a bookworm in North Dakota and a hotline that's offering you the best pep talks possible thanks to elementary school students. Super cute. But first, just when you thought rotary phones had become a thing of the past, well, Gen Z has dialed back in. According to housebeautiful.com, landlines are trending, and not because they're useful in an emergency, but instead as a design element. TikTok is overflowing with vintage phones that are less about making a call and more about making a statement in your home. I do see, a lot of these as decorative pieces when I go out to, the junk hunt here in Duluth.
Okay.
You can definitely find stuff like this, I think, to kind of set on your table, kind of look fancy, but I can't imagine actually picking up one of those phones to try and dial. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Have you ever used a rotary phone?
I think I have used it successfully. I don't know. I've tried to use it.
They're fun. I remember as a kid, my neighbor had one, and it was like, okay, you go all the way around.
Yeah. It's like the Andy Griffith Show. You got to like ask the operator to get you wherever you're going. Like, what's going on?
Imagine dialing 0 and having like someone there again.
That'd be nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of nice.
That'd be nice, as opposed to having to search up a number on the internet now. You just get
Somebody else to do it for you, Exactly. That's
Sit
so.
there.
Or you used to be able to dial 411, and maybe you still can. I don't know. Was it 411? And then that's how you'd get the information. You could just ask people like an address for something, before the internet, and then they would give you said address.
You're right.
So that must be where you get the 411 on something.
What's
so
the 411?
We're learning more.
Is MnDOT 511?
Yeah, they've got their road
so.
condition fixed.
Not 911 for emergency.
That's true. Don't call that one unless you really need to.
Hopefully you're not at an antique shop where you need to use a phone, because there's probably a lot of rotary phones in there that are not connected. Well, as for those Gen Zers, as they're turning back the clock, Hunter here is already pointing out what's to come for us in northern Minnesota and the Northland. So Hunter was talking about this the other day, now having photographic evidence that we do indeed have fall colors on some of our trees up here.
Where'd you take this?
This was up on Jean Duluth Road, about halfway in between Duluth and 44, and I pulled over, and I'm like, because we talked about this on the 10 o'clock, me, Laura, and Dan, and they called me out. They said there was no trees up here that were turning yet.
Well, see, I support you because I saw a tree that even had orangish leaves on it already in my parents' neighborhood, and they live just off Jean Duluth as well.
My gosh.
So it's coming whether we want it to or not.
I feel like it's early and earlier every year. Like even like mid-July, I was starting to see some lighter tint in the trees.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, we still have some warm temperatures on the way.
Yeah.
But, for now, it just looks like it's a little bit fall-like around the region.
So I don't want to put you on the spot with this meteorological, sciencey kind of question, but do you think this is it early because we saw so much like rain?
Or less
snow?
Too.
Usually it has to do with the moisture content, and usually I believe when it's less rainy, less snowy, that sort of thing, is when they start to turn a little bit earlier. Also, temperature can have a little bit to do with it too. If it's colder, and it was hot in July, but it was cold in June for a lot of the season. And July was relatively rainy, obviously. At least June was, and then July was pretty dry towards the end. So maybe the drier second half of July, that really helped us to see these colors turn early.
Yeah.
Adds up.
It does.
We really are learning today.
There we go.
Hunter's our teacher. Last week we were talking about who we would want to portray us on Saturday Night Live if that were to ever happen. And thanks to our viewer Mark, he had quite the casting list for us. He thought Hunter's request for John Candy was just spot on.
Nice.
I agree. As for me, he went with Lauren Bacall, who I had to Google. She was an actress from way back when, and is now passed. But very interesting. I'd love to see some videos of her. And there she is. Wow. And for Ryan here, he had Cary Grant, who I had also never seen before.
Another older one. Yes.
But look at that.
Those are good calls, I'd say.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mark for the movie knowledge.
Wow. He also, look at that. That's pretty good too. But I would say that you both fit the Hollywood persona, like the face style, very good right there. Look at that. I mean, I don't know.
If only I could get my hair to go like Lauren's there each day. I got to call up her stylist. This beautiful hair she has.
She's probably dead too, unfortunately.
She has passed.
Everybody I believe in those photos says passed. Sadly. Well, before we go to commercial break, that is, not for the show. A 90s era icon is opening a life-size 2-story slumber party fun Airbnb in Massachusetts. It's a 42-foot poly pocket home that is just full of nostalgia, and guests can get comfortable watching a movie on the couch or head to the life-size action park tent that's just 10 feet away. It's open to guests from September 12th to the 14th at $89 a person.
Nostalgia.
Does that roof thing close?
I don't know. I don't think so. I wonder where you do stay.
I don't know. Well, hey, coming up, we're going to meet a 3-year-old who has already read over 1,000 books. Welcome back, everybody. Whether you want to believe it or not, we're getting very close to the return of the school year for students and parents out there. And if you haven't already prepared, there are some things that teachers would like for families to do before they see you again. According to teachers who spoke with HuffPost Life, here are a few things parents should do to prepare their kids. You can reestablish routines, read every day, encourage independence, and give kids more responsibility as we get closer to the school year. They might fall out of that a little bit throughout the summer. You can center your talks around kindness and also talk positively about school. That one's really important. You don't want to, as a parent, I'm sure, be ragging on school or how much you didn't enjoy being in class as a kid, right?
Here's the thing, too, about summer learning when I was a child as well. My mom, looking back, I'm glad she did it for my well-being, but there were these packets that I always do every single summer where it's like, all right, it's time to get back and get ready to do your math and reading. And I hated doing that.
Your mom made you do that?
Don't blame her.
Oh my
She's trying to be a good mother. But,
look how you turned out. Look at this guy.
I think we turned out okay.
Yes, if you're a nerd.
Looking back, I go, man, I really hated it at that time. But it's important to stay up to date with those things.
Oh, for sure. I feel like every school year when I would go back, especially as I got a little bit older, I would be like, I don't remember how to learn. And I don't remember how to pay attention. One of my friends' moms, did the same sort of thing. She had them do math worksheets every morning throughout the summer. They would do a math worksheet. And she was like a math genius. She was so good at math because of that. So I'm like, maybe I should have been doing that.
Crazy.
$1 a day.
Yeah. Also, your bedtime creeps later and later throughout the summer, so you got to shove it back up, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever time it is. Get to bed early there,
That morning wake-up call hurts on the first day of school.
Yes, it does. Oh, my gosh. Well, listen, she's only 3 years old, but a little girl in North Dakota has already read 1,000 books.
It's a lot more than I've ever read. She's had a little help from her parents, of course. Kiona Rivera introduces us to that avid reader.
The Nelson family has about 1,500 books on their shelves at home. They say reading brings them to a whole new world with every pages turned.
Look out!
Eva's brother Ian just started kindergarten and has also read 1,000 books already. Their dad Eric says they were surprised to see their kids reach the mark.
I just think it's amazing. I would have never thought that in such a short period of time they read that many books. It's kind of funny thinking about all the books that we didn't count and all the daycare books that were read and grandparents read books.
Eva still has 2 more years before she starts kindergarten, but that doesn't stop her from giving her parents books to read to her every chance she gets.
What's your favorite one?
They say it all starts from home, and their mom is an avid reader. Her love for reading started with mystery books like the Nancy Drew series.
But reading has always been my thing. My parents would always say that I only became a good traveler once I could read in the car, and then that's how I spent all my trips, was reading.
Children's librarian Randy Monley says the Minot Public Library wants to instill reading as an everyday routine.
They really are learning those early literacy skills before they go into school, and they're also really building a relationship with books and their caregivers. It's just such a great opportunity for the little ones.
Both Eric and Beth say they hope their children will keep finding their love for reading, and say they also learn something new with every book read.
How about that? Good on you. 1,000 books is a lot of books. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's a round of applause. I was just thinking about, too, the assigned reading that we had to do for my English classes in high school during the summer, and how probably if I had developed more of a love for reading when I was young like that, I would have been more excited about that.
Seriously.
And Hunter, you were saying that the library when you were a kid was important to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, out in the sticks, 30 minutes away from any civilization, we don't have internet back when we were kids, so we'd go to the library.
Still
Not so
don't.
much, not really good still today. Yeah. But we wouldn't go really much to read books, but more so to use the internet and go play games and stuff.
I loved the computer games at the library. They were the best.
Oregon Trail?
No, it
play
was
that?
mostly like Arthur.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Fun Brain? Did you play Fun Brain?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh, it was great.
So we'd go to the library, and my mom probably wanted me to check out more books. But I was over at the computer. So Kelly and Erica picked up the slack for me when it came to reading. Well, as you heard there too, Eric and Beth say they hope their children will keep finding their love for reading, and say they also learn something new with every book they do read. So how nice is that? But guys, I was surfing the internet. I was trying to find more of these back to school type talkers, and I came across one of the best motivational tools I've seen in some time. Because it is free, there's a hotline number called Pep Talk, where it features pre-recorded life advice and encouragement messages from students at a public school in California. And I believe they're in elementary school. So as of June of this year, they've received over 17 million calls, and they have all sorts of different messages. As you can see on the top right there, you can click a number depending on what you need. I went for the, what was it? I needed 6 for how awesome you look. And so a little student told me, you look better than a star in the sky, and rainbows are jealous of you.
That's so sweet.
So that number, if you want it, 707-873-7862.
I'll be adding that in my speed dial.
Right? No, I was like, I look better than the stars in the sky. Well,
I'm jealous.
thank you. I need to call that every morning.
Say less.
Say less. Appreciate it. But it's still ahead. A corn dog, hot dog, and cotton candy bacon. All things State Fair related next.
Welcome back, folks. It is State Fair season around the Midwest, don't we know it? And what would the Illinois State Fair be without the butter cow? This year's sculpture honors Illinois dairy farmers out there. The fair says the butter cow has been an unofficial icon of the event since the 1920s. 500 pounds of unsalted butter, that is, are sculpted by hand over 5 days' time. The fair runs through August 18th. In Springfield. That's a whole lot of butter right there. Look at that.
That is a whole lot of butter. Also, I wish I had video of it. I believe down at the Iowa State Fair, Caitlin Clark was sculpted out of butter.
No way!
Yeah, so hopefully maybe we'll find that video
That's
too.
impressive.
But that is quite impressive right there.
Do
That
we have butter things at our state fair?
Yeah,
We do, don't we?
so.
They have a big butter sculpting area, and you can watch them, I think, do it live, even in this big cooler room.
most items you eat at the State Fair too likely have butter.
A lot of butter.
Yeah.
That's
So
the best part of any
that'd
state
be
fair.
so cool to have that like near your home or like inside of your home next to your kitchen. kitchen where you'd be like, I just need some butter. You just go
Right.
scoop it out of the cow
Take
or
it off the
scoop
Yeah.
the top of the ice cream.
I just want an udder full of butter.
That'd
real
be
quick.
so cool.
I've never thought of what happens to those sculptures after they're done being on display.
Yeah.
Like it's just this huge thing of butter. Does it get melted down, and or do you just scoop it like that and use it on your toast?
That's a weird
Because
thought.
it's been sculpted by someone's hands too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they wear gloves or not.
Let's hope so.
I'll have to ask some more questions. One of the Minnesota State Fair's better deals apparently getting a price hike, sadly. Midwest Dairy has confirmed it will be charging $3 for all-you-can-drink milk at their stand on Machinery Hill this summer. That is up from last year's price of $2. They also say the deal first began way back in 1955 when people could purchase a cup for just 10 cents and remains the only limitless food or drink deal at the Minnesota State Fair. The get-together begins on August 22nd.
Man, inflation's tough.
Oh, dollar.
Well, I would say too, in their defense, I think like most, even if you wanted a bottle of water at the state fair, that'd probably be north of $3.
I
Something
bet.
like
Yeah,
that.
So-
and all said and said, or I don't know, that's not a phrase, but all
But
things
it's-
said.
All said is
that
said.
is a very,
Not
very
wrong.
cheap price. $3 still. I would, if I didn't know it had been $2
Yeah.
in the past and they told me it was $3, I would say, this is a steal.
Yes.
I
You
mean,
think-
I don't really drink a whole ton of milk.
Do you think
myself,
they
but
have cows back there just like at the stand, or do you
how
think
do
they bring
keep
it in?
up? Yeah, I don't know.
don't
They
know.
must bring it in.
I bet they got a ton of cows back there. They're just milking them like crazy.
On the
Oh,
headset.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
800 workers.
How much you need?
Another 5 gallons, please.
Oh, man. Well, as we wait for this year's tasty items in Minnesota, Texas has an impressive list of concoctions to share. Here's just a snapshot of what their menu down in Texas will have this year. There's cotton candy bacon on a stick. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Cotton candy bacon with the bacon spun inside a cotton candy machine
There it
and
is.
then torched to caramelize the center. Oh, very interesting. I didn't expect it to look like that. And then there's strawberry Pop-Tarts, beignet full.
Beignet full? Yeah.
Beignet
Like a waffle?
Oh,
Is
it's
that
like a
what the
beignet and a
full?
waffle. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. I did practice that before we started to say that word, but I absolutely froze when I saw it come up here in the prompter. That's with beignets and a Pop-Tart and waffle all put together on a stick. And finally, we have the Dominican fritura dog, where a corn dog is split in two to make the hot dog style base for the rest of the dish. Man, tough things to say.
Yeah, that was insane. I know Texas also does not mess around with their state fairs. I believe Minnesota has the highest attendance daily, and Texas has the highest attendance overall when it comes to their state fair, I believe.
But turning a hot dog into a hot dog bun, or a corn dog into a hot dog bun, pretty genius.
It is. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, well, when we come back, our executive producer Ben gives us an update on his big new purchase.
Before we go today, everybody, you'll remember last week we were talking about how our executive producer, Ben Reed, bought these new kind of pots and pans he couldn't stop talking about. They have detachable handles for easier storage, and they have the ability to be put in your fridge. Now we have video proof from the Rachel Hackbarth knockoff that it does indeed work. So
Oh, look at that.
What's in there, by the way? Is that
Looks
like
chicken noodle soup?
I think it's chicken
corn or
noodle
something?
soup. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
but you can see how
okay.
easily it detaches. He takes it off. Ben, Rachel Hackbarth Reed, and puts it back on. So.
Okay. Well, if he likes it, then I'm in. I think that's 2 thumbs up for Ben Reed right there, probably.
Yeah. He also sent me a photo of it in the fridge, so looks like it works perfectly.
Okay. Good for Ben, I guess. I guess we'll have to make our purchases
I
coming
guess
up.
we will. Well, there's certainly a positive there in Ben's kitchen at home. There seems to be some work to be done in his backyard as a bear got into his bird feeder recently, putting quite the dent into it, it looks like. Holy
I don't know if
buckets.
it's supposed to be shaped like that.
No. The bear must have been like pawing at it for a while there, trying to get the chow out. Ooh.
Yeah, brought it down. Maybe try to. It looks like there's no more food left, so looks
Yeah.
like the bear was indeed successful.
Successful.
Someone ate.
Good job, Bear.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Monday. Tuesday, rather.
Oh, Monday.
Monday. Is it Monday? Oh,
It's Monday.
Or just head outside to unwind. That's the life in the great North Woods. Hike or bike, whatever you like. Get out in the day, enjoy the night. Yeah, we got the life in the great North Woods. Yeah, we got the life in the great North Woods. Yeah, this is Northern